Hi everyone, it's Sonia Farrell here. Welcome to my studio today. I'm very excited to be inviting you here to have a bit of a chat about what makes you a better artist. Well, I ask myself that question all the time. I want to always improve my art. So I'm always looking for ways on how I can do that. And basically when I speak to my students about becoming a better artist, a lot of times I get them to tell me what they admire about the artists that they follow. So a lot of people, and myself included, have artists that they follow, that they enjoy their work of. And most of the time that the work that we are looking at as being artworks that we really enjoy or see come from artists that we admire, and they have developed habits and procedures and practices that make them better artists. So what are those things? So you could probably just pause this video right now and make a list of your own things that you think would be something that makes a really good artist. And in actual fact, I'd like you to do that. So just hit pause right now and just list out maybe 10 things if you can think of that many. If you can think of more than 10, that's absolutely fine. But just think of 10 things. I'm going to come back once you hit play again, and we're going to chat about what makes a good artist. So do that right now. So thank you for coming back to me. So I hope you did pause. I hope you did make your list. And I hope you've been thinking about what you think makes a good artist. So I always think of the habits of people that I really admire in terms of their art. And some of the things that I see them do a lot of is practice a lot. So they might not be necessarily practicing like in a book. They may actually be doing practicing as they chatting to people about art, doing a lot of art. So all of those things actually make up part of becoming a better artist. So practicing things. So for example, I've got a book here, and I've just looked I've got random books. I should try and just be a little bit more organized, and probably that would be a good thing to do, is be a bit more organized. What I tend to do is once I've got a working book, I just make notes in there, I scribble in there, I practice in there, I try out things in there that give me ideas. I might be looking at a subject matter at the moment that I want to practice myself. So I might, so for example, in my book here, I've got a picture of an apple. But before that, I've been looking at things like light and shading and how I'm going to do the blending and things like that. So just really practice. Here I'm just been messing around with trees, ribbons, making notes for myself as I'm going about how edges might change, how things might change. So taking the content that you're learning at that stage, things that you find interesting or that you're perhaps covering off methodically for your own self, you've perhaps scoped out some of the things that you want to do as a goal. So you might be, intentionally researching that. Go research, look in books, look at, videos, check out what your favorite artists are saying about things like that. Google or Bing or whoever you use to do your searching online, to have a look through any suggestions come through there and have a look at some of the techniques they're using. Oftentimes I find that I want to practice before I'm doing art classes, make sure that I'm comfortable with the techniques that I'm taking the people through that I'm doing the art classes with. So obviously, practice is a good thing to do. So just looking really through my little art book here, this is like having an art journal. So having an art journal and practice book is very similar. An art journal can be as small as an A5 size, where you're carrying a pencil or just a nice handy little paint set with you that you can just actually grab paint and just start working on that while you waiting in the car for someone. Or if you've got a pencil and a small book, you don't need to have paints and make it complicated. Just go in and really just play with that. Just practice with shapes, practice with everyday things. sometimes when I'm thinking about what workshops I might want to be doing, so I take people through, certain designs and how to paint that. So I might think of new or get inspired by a new design, and then think about how I might take people through the steps on how to achieve that. Just, oftentimes when I have new students joining my class, if they have a portfolio book, which will become their book, like a lookbook, I encourage them to put like something that makes it truly their own on the front page. That might be, their name with a nice design around it, or just an initial, or just something that tells us more about them as a person. And even I end up doing things upside down as well. But it's heaps and heaps of fun. So, play around with your drawing, practice watercolor techniques, painting techniques, mixed media techniques, just doodle, play, have fun. The other thing that you can also do is think about things that you perhaps have done that you really struggled with before, and maybe one of those things is become like a bit of a goal for you. So, for example, I see a lot of people saying they want to draw hands, and hands are very difficult to draw, especially if they've got a lot of wrinkles and things. But practice. Take your think of your skill level as something that you can keep on pushing and push the boundaries of. Have a think about a goal that you want to achieve. It might be doing portraits, it might be doing pets, it might be doing letting go and not being as detailed, and being more abstract orientated with the work that you're doing. So have fun with what you're doing. Play around with some of the things that you are setting up as goals for yourself. You might decide you want to really explore a medium much more, become a lot more confident with it, and push the boundaries with it as well. So you can push your own skill levels, but you can push the boundaries of the mediums and things that as well. And make notes for yourself. Just as you're going through, if you're seeing something that you've stumbled on or worked out for yourself as being a really good technique, or something that you think has come out really pretty, make notes for yourself as how you got that, so that you can use that in your next big painting that you want to do as a artwork. So also think about experimenting. So a lot of people tend to start off, I know artists find either drawing or even acrylic painting very, very easy to do. Not easy, okay, let me just, they start off there and they develop their skills there, and they get their level of confidence in that medium they're doing, and they decide, well, that's it, I'm good at this, I'm not going to do anything else. So I want to challenge you to push yourself to explore different mediums, because different mediums give you different outcomes. You might be looking for a certain outcome in an artwork, and you could either labor it with a medium that or if you know other types of mediums that achieve that really in a unique way, go and use that. So your artwork may not be an acrylic piece anymore, but it will be a mixed media piece. So, just keep pushing those boundaries, because your art is out there, in here, needing to come out here and be released to the world. So, keep on pushing through, and being open always to learning, stretching yourself beyond what you think you might be possibly able to do. You might have found something relatively easy to do, but perhaps the techniques you're using are a little bit putting your mediums at risk. So, for example, if you water down your acrylics too much, you end up losing the ability of the pigment to stay true and vibrant. So you might research that element and find out what other mediums you can use to actually, dilute your paint in a way that actually enhances or keeps that level of care for your mediums and so on. So really have a think about what you're doing, and try to push the limits always. If you're working as a hobby artist, think, what's the next thing? Are you doing this truly only for fun? If so, that's fine, and that's perfect. But if you're finding that you're wanting to develop this more and more and more, become really an expert in what you're doing, research those subject matters, research what you're doing, find out how other people are doing the same thing, and you might learn and grow, or you might find that what you have is something quite unique and that you want to share it with other people as well. So that brings me to the next one, which is, think about what you're good at. So you might be really, really, really good at landscapes, and you're doing them really amazingly, and everyone's loving them, and that's fine. And you can continue, obviously, to continue painting landscapes, but perhaps you were also thinking of, taking your landscapes to a different level, either with a different medium or changing up your what you're painting to something a little bit different. So you might think, okay, landscapes, maybe I can start bringing human form in there, or animal form, or something like that. So something that's complementary to what you're good at. Keep pushing your skills. If you know what you're not good at, get to know what you're not good at. So the only way you know that is if you practice. So back to the journaling, back to the practicing. It's like the practicing creates a muscle memory. So if you are doing gymnastics, I didn't do gymnastics, but if you're doing gymnastics or tennis or swimming, you are doing it again and again and again and again. And you're doing this, and as you're doing this, you're building muscle memory. It's like it becomes so automatic eventually. The same way, if you are going to be going out and drawing, doing plein air painting, and you're doing landscapes, you know how to do water. You've developed that skill so that it's second nature. You know what colors you use. You know how you layer them, and that's really, really good. Also find things that are interesting. So sometimes we just think, okay, well, I'm just going to practice, and I'm just going to do this bowl of water in front of me. Well, if you love water and the transparency of the glass, and seeing how the light hits the water, and then doing it that way, if there's something there that interests you and inspires you, go for it. But if it's boring for you, don't do it. Find something that you love. Go outside, go sketch a blossom, sketch the bees, sketch insects, sketch a tree. Find stuff that you love. You might love, makeup. Put your makeup out and sketch that. Or you might love your child. Well, I hope you love your child. But you might, take your sketchbook out when you take them to playtime, and sketch them. Sketch what they're doing and what they're up to. Give yourself the minute you become sort of adept at something, push something more. So shorter time, longer time, whatever. So if you push and paint too fast, try slow down. If you go too slow, speed up, all those sorts of things. The other thing that I've noticed as an artist is that often I might be looking at something, and I see it differently. I see it differently to the people around me. So as an artist, you will have that happen to you, where you're looking at something, at a tree, and suddenly you're seeing these sparkles of dewdrops catching the sunlight, and it's like, wow, that's beautiful. Or you might see the bark going up, and just the roughness of some of the bark, perhaps as it's peeling off, and how it creates shadows, or even the different greens that you find in the flowers and in the leaves and so on. So there's always so much to see. Look, learn to observe, and learn to draw from that. Take the time to actually just slow down and look at what you're drawing. Look at the texture, look at the colors, look at how it sits, and as the light hits it, what happens to the light. There's so many things that you can do. So with this challenge out there, I'd love to hear if you have any more points in your list of things of how to be a better artist. Please jot them down, send them to me. Let me know what other things you've been doing, or that you've seen, somebody that you admire as an artist, what they've been doing. And I'd love to sort of broaden those sorts of challenges and the observations as to what makes a better artist. So thank you for joining me. Love to see you here always. I appreciate you being a Patreon member. And for those that are looking at this, appreciate you being here as well. It's always lovely to have friends that we don't quite know yet, but we are getting to know every day as we paint together. So thank you for being here and have a wonderful day. Okay, bye-bye.